I like a woman whose eyes can see through my
Oh
soul
my
and cut through the
God.
bullshit. She's got to have some engine grease under her fingernails.
Cut
And then
through
he
the bullshit
says,
and see the good.
that's right. And then he says, she's got to be 20% angel, 80% devil. And Gal Gadot's like, hey, that doesn't sound like me. To which Dom Toretto responds, it ain't. Welcome to Mortified, the Friendship Quest, a podcast where two long-distance friends bounce media recommendations, all in hopes the other will like it. I'm Aaron.
And I'm sure the tunnel is right there.
And this week, we reunite the family with Fast and Furious, parentheses, this is the fourth Fast and the Furious film. Gotta be sure about that. Before we toast the ladies we've loved and lost, remember you can help us on Mortified the Legitimacy Quest by subscribing to us on YouTube, iTunes, or Spotify, signing up for our monthly newsletter through the link in our show notes, or following us on Twitter and Tumblr at MortifiedPod. Leyla.
Aaron.
I already cracked my Corona, but we are now halfway through our tour of the Fast franchise. How are we feeling?
Not quite.
You don't think so?
Well, I guess I haven't counted the fact that we've already seen 7. So
Yes,
yeah.
that's the thing. We've seen 7 already. I don't think we're going to be rewatching it. So
No, maybe for extra credit, but not for a separate episode. I feel pretty good. This is my second tour around the Fast franchise, and I feel justified in having warned you that this is where the dip begins.
yeah, that's interesting because I think you're right. I think this show hit me a little bit less hard than I wanted to. I definitely had less fun here than in Tokyo Drift. And I think we're going to talk about why. I think this still is like a pretty fun movie, but there are some parts where I think it stumbles. It doesn't quite nail the gear shift, so to speak. So without further ado, shall I try to summarize this film?
Oh, please do.
So
Wait, before you do, we should give the same disclaimer we just gave.
Oh, yeah.
If our energy's a little weird, it's because we are recording 2 episodes this week. One you are hearing now, 2 days after it's recorded. It's this one. One you will hear in about 7 weeks when I am on the first leg of my 2-prong business trip. So if we're a little weird, that's why. Aaron, take it away.
This is the second episode we've recorded, which is weird, but we'll figure it out. So, here's the thing. Y'all remember the family. You got your Dom Toretto, played by Vin Diesel. You got your Letty Ortiz, played by Michelle Rodriguez. They're out here doing vehicular crimes. But the problem is the feds are moving in. They're gonna get Dom. Oh, no. So, Dom makes the noble sacrifice. He says, all right, I'm gonna leave Letty because when I go down, the everybody who's near me is also going to go down. I'm going to go to jail, and I don't want you to go to jail, my beloved wife. But then Dom gets a phone call that says, so there's a slight problem, and it is that Letty has been murdered. Now, you might be wondering, Aaron, why are you laughing about this? Listeners, it's because we know Letty doesn't die. We've watched Fast 7, and she does a great job in that film. But it is wild stakes escalation, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But yeah, so now Dom and Brian, Paul Walker, are going to team up reluctantly because apparently Dom had a falling out with the family. Or no, Brian had a falling out with the family. And they're going to team up to get revenge on this drug kingpin whose name is Braga, basically. And basically they have to do a whole bunch of things to prove that they're good enough drivers to work for him. Then they finally do the job, where they run drugs across the U.S.-Mexico border. They are betrayed by the people who they're working for, and they realize that they have to, find this guy who they thought was just the assistant, but was actually the real Kingpin Braga the whole time. They find him, they take him down. Dom still has to go to jail, but then they, at the very end, they have a bunch of cool cars like roll up on the prison transport, and it's pretty, these bars can't hold Vin Diesel is all I'm saying.
No, they cannot.
No prison system is stronger than family.
I think you called it family-based parole.
That's right.
Which I really liked. Yeah, that's it. That's the movie. As you mentioned, not as unhinged as the others. My theory is that the franchise at this point is like, it feels like it's trying to figure out what the audience actually likes about it. So in Tokyo Drift, they really tried to be like, is it the cars? It's not the cars. And now in Fast and Furious. The Fast and the Furious is the first one.
That's correct.
Now in Fast and Furious, they're like, is it the cop procedural?
It's not that. It's definitely not that.
So, we'll see what Fast 5 tries. In terms of audience retention. But I would like to mention we do see Han here. So this ties Han into the greater Diesel universe, as having run with the Torettos before the events of Tokyo Drift.
Yes,
so.
There was a bit when they were doing the initial heist that I was like, they're just going to resurrect Han and not address it, and I think that's really funny. But then after the end, Han is like, okay, I'm going to go to Tokyo now and see what's happening there. So
they're doing crazy shit in Tokyo.
Mm-hmm. They're drifting. They don't even need to turn properly. But like, yeah, I really wish that they were just like, who gives a shit? Han's back. Which I do. I hope at some point they do. I'm pretty sure he gets resurrected again and then killed again. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Let's talk about our family. Let's revisit them. How do you feel about Mr. Toretto in this one? Because I feel like this is a much more Dom-centered story than basically any of the other Fast films we've seen.
I think it's more specific than that. It's Dom as a wife guy, specifically. It's him just like being a widower, which is great.
Okay, we gotta talk about Gal Gadot. So Gal Gadot's in this movie.
Sure is.
Listen, we are not gonna... Actually, we are gonna comment on her stance regarding the IDF. We think it's bad, but she's in this movie for reasons. But basically, she's like working for the cartel.
She's in this movie because she's hot. Like...
Okay, yes, that's the actual answer. But, like, she comes on super strong to Dom, at, like, when he's, like, downstairs looking at all the cars to try to figure out which one has the special nitro that was at the crime scene where his wife was killed. And she's like, oh, are you one of those boys that cares more about the bodies of cars than the bodies of women? And Dom is like, well, I'm a man who can appreciate a sexy, hard body no matter what form it's in. And then she's like, tell me about what you like in your women, Dom. A thing that all women like to say to men, I'm sure.
Well, no, what she says specifically is, okay, well, now I know what you like in cars. What do you like in your women? Mm-hmm. Which, again, is...
Leyla, how often on a first date are you like, all right, buddy?
Listen... As somebody who grew up, put it this way, categorically unappealing to cis men, I have been privy as a guy's girl to some conversations about what the boys like in their girls.
Oh, no.
I have never heard women speak about men nearly as mechanically as men speak about women. Contrary to popular belief, women don't have lists. They might as a joke, but I've never seen anybody take their lists seriously. So for Gal Gadot to pop this question out, A woman didn't write that.
No, obviously. I don't know that a woman has worked on any movie in this franchise, but the thing that Dom responds with is like, I like a woman whose eyes can see through my soul and cut through the bullshit. She's got to have some engine grease under her fingernails.
And then he says, bullshit and see the good.
Yeah, that's right. And then he says, she's got to be 20% angel, 80% devil. And Gal Gadot's like, hey, that doesn't sound like me. To which Dom Toretto responds, it ain't.
Do you think Dom Toretto has dated some 70-30s and 60-40s in his past? really gotten it boiled down to the 80-20?
No, like if you were at the Petco checkout and you're like, yeah, I'll donate an extra $1. He's like, you fucked up the percentage. I got it. This is done.
Now you're 25-75. I can't do this anymore.
No. Yeah. Anyway, it is a way to characterize how sad he is about his wife to have him turn down Gal Gadot, who is an attractive woman, but like, what a way to do it.
Iconic. I mean, like, it's so appropriate for Dom, though, because, like, I can't watch these movies, especially this movie that lets you into several machinations of this fictional version of the U.S. government. I can't watch this and not be like, this is what I wish radicalized people, Like, you hear about the deep state. I wish this is what people thought the deep state was, Like, I wish that this was the pinnacle of American masculinity, was just being a sad wife guy.
Yes, 100%. Like, I was so worried that they were going to be like, oh, well, now that he thinks his wife is dead, he's going to hook up with lots of hotties. But, like, that's not the direction they took. And, like, I do think there is place in the American ideal of masculinity to have a devoted, sad man be just, like, kind of your ideal. This is what peak performance looks like, sort of zone.
Yeah, absolutely. Pivoting to our other leading man, the great ACAB Brian O'Connor.
Man, fuck Brian, though.
Yeah, Brian sucks. Mia, raise your standards, baby.
I mean, I don't know. He dumped Mia 5 years ago, but also enlisted Letty in helping clear Dom's name, which is why she got killed.
Quote unquote.
Yeah, allegedly. I don't know. He does a bunch of weird cop shit. So there's a scene where he plants meth on someone, and I don't know that we can talk about it yet because it's in our talking points, but it is the wildest shit I've ever seen.
I have a bad history of, in games where you can romance characters, I do occasionally look at the cop and go, I can fix him.
Oh, no.
I don't think you can fix Brian O'Connor.
No, I mean, what's his whole motivation in this movie? I think it's just to like reconcile with the family. In which case, why did he shit on the family so many years ago?
They accidentally write such a compelling case for white male privilege, where like he truly is in these systems and like does not see their incompetence, doesn't see the harm they do, to the point where at the end of the movie he's like, I thought we signed on to do the right thing. You work in the most hostile fucking working condition I've ever seen in my life. You broke a dude's nose after
your coworker assaulted you and you had to kick his ass. Yeah.
Yeah, and then now you're like, I thought we signed out to do the right thing, sweetheart.
And Dom Toretto has a great comeback, which is like, oh, do you also still leave milk and cookies out for Santa Claus, you fucking idiot? like, yeah, of course they're not gonna let him go. They're the fucking feds. Come on, man.
Yeah, it's truly like, this is the movie where Dom Toretto is a sad wife guy and Brian O'Connor gets a new perspective on what he's been up to.
Yeah, I know that he does eventually leave the FBI, which is good. But like
5 years too late. 5 years too late.
Like, yeah, come on, man. You should have been out You should not have been in the cops as soon as you finish Fast 1 quarter mile at a time, baby. You know this. I don't know. Brian is completely fine, but I don't think this is his story to tell. He's just kind of there because of family reasons.
Paul Walker deserved better.
Paul Walker deserved better, yes. Mia, actually, hold on. Letty Ortiz also deserved better. Michelle Rodriguez also deserved better. Do you know why she wasn't really in this movie?
I was about to ask you that. Like, do we think she just wasn't available?
That must have been it, right?
Because that's what happened.
Oh my god! Leyla,
what?
Do you know what movie also came out in 2009? That Michelle. Do you think that she couldn't make this because of Avatar?
It must have been shooting at the same time.
Yes. Oh my god! James Cameron strikes again.
Full circle, bitch. Full circle. Full mortified
I literally
circle.
have
We're
chills.
done.
Oh
This is the last episode of our podcast. We've done it.
All my threads, all my boards are coming together. We found it.
This is so good. And now Vin Diesel's gonna be an Avatar.
I can't believe it.
Oh my god. I'm like sweating.
I'm crying. I'm actually literally crying.
Oh my god, Michelle Rodriguez couldn't have been in this movie because she was shooting Avatar.
Another film in which she gets killed for no reason.
Incredible. Oh
They do her
God.
so dirty. Michelle Rodriguez should be a billionaire.
She should be a billionaire and she should step on me. While she's at it, let's be real.
Christ.
She's so hot.
She's incredibly attractive. Yeah, I mean, she's in a couple scenes, and she does a pretty good job in them, and then she's killed. That's it. It
to
sucks.
go make James Cameron money.
I mean, listen, I hope that she cashed those blue checks all the way to the bank. But, like, yeah, I wish she was in it more. I just haven't seen her in so long. I want to see more of her. She's great.
You know what, though? I think I would have made the same decision she made, because where are you more likely to get resurrected? James Cameron's self-serious Avatar, or, well, people really liked Han, so we're gonna tie him into the main storyline.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Although Sigourney fucking Weaver got reincarnated as a child Na'vi, so who the fuck knows?
But she's a different character now, Erin.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's a good point. We gotta maintain strict lore continuity.
Oh my god.
Stupid.
Wow.
I can't believe we cracked this live on air.
I need whoever's styling Mia Toretto to give her some layers. Her hair has no volume. It bothered me the entire time. I know. Listen, I know you. Listen, I know who I'm talking to. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I know, but I kept looking at those flat bangs and that flat long hair, and I was like, they gave you a bad boyfriend, and they gave you a bad haircut, and they gave you bad hoop earrings. She just deserves better. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Visually.
Sure. Speaking of deserving better, again, this is where we get into Mia, Jordana Brewster, you know.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, shoot. Sorry. I thought we were still talking about Michelle Rodriguez.
No, she looked beautiful. Mia looked like a kindergarten teacher.
She kind of did, huh? Shit. Yeah. I mean, firstly, don't fuck cops. Secondly, have higher standards. Mia, what are you doing here? There's a scene, like, right before Dom and Brian go off to, like, fight the drug cartel guy, and, like, it's expected that they're not going to come back alive. And, like, she's, like, crying, and she's upset because she, like, just went out to go get groceries or something. And Brian just comes in, and they make out and have sex. And it's like, girl, you don't... Listen, I get it. We've all been emotionally vulnerable and a little horny sometimes, but, like, you don't have to settle for this dude who dumped you 5 years ago to go work in the goddamn FBI. Come on.
Yeah, and if I was in Mia Toretto's shoes, in her practical, sensible kindergarten teacher sneakers and her wraparound dress, I would withhold that pussy until he quit. I would make him put down his badge in that moment, put him down the fucking sink drain. And then we could discuss, but ACAP, baby. All cops are Brian.
Yeah, they do give her one crumb, which is at the very end when they're breaking out Dom. She gets to drive like a weird Hyundai Lamborghini, and she helps to break out Dom, which is fun. But still, wish Mia got more. She does also make all three of them say grace before the big battle, which I think
like
is
that.
very fun. She's just like, Dom, we haven't thanked the Lord yet. He has to put down his Corona.
Again, like, these movies are what should be radicalizing white Americans, right? There's such a prominent feature of Dom Toretto's blinged out cross.
Yeah, like, it is, like, hanging from the rearview mirror. It is huge and jewel encrusted.
And he's holding it when they're on the Mexican border.
It's the thing that connects him to Letty. It's, like, his memento of her. And, like, it is very strange that they don't connect his, like, ambiguous Christianity to anything.
Well, Christianity does continue to feature in this film. Speaking of which, let's talk about Braga.
So, it's fucking wild that they do this twist at the end that Campos, who is like the middleman that was connecting Dom and Brian to the drug cartel, turned out to be the kingpin the whole time. That's just fucking wild, firstly.
It's very Padme Amidala of him, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Listen, if you're a big drug kingpin, you know, you gotta have a handmaid dress as you, or in this case, a very old man in a nice suit.
That man must be making capital B bank.
Yeah, I mean, he's like the person who gets paid to eat the king's meals, the taste tester, right? Like,
Yeah.
his whole deal is like, I'm gonna talk to you, and my whole point in talking to you and like doing all these fake things is that, excuse me, eventually, you know, when the fucking bullets start flying, you are the person they're gonna come after. I'm just gonna be some guy, and that's what happens. It's very funny. So, Leyla, can you... Because you know me, you know my brand, you know the ways in which my mind has been warped by my upbringing and education.
Uh-huh.
So I maybe had a different read on this than you might have, but what is Campos/Braga's motivation?
Well, Aaron, he wants to keep doing crime, but still get into heaven.
Yes, that is my read too. At the very end, when they're about to surround him and kidnap him, he is in a Catholic church, and the priest is like, "Oh, hey, what's going on here?" And Campos hands the priest a sack of dollar bills, and receives communion.
Not a duffel bag.
Yeah, like a whole fucking big bag. And in the Catholic Church, right, if the popes, or it's usually the Pope, has to tell you, but also, and a lot of times it's like your bishop, right? The bishop of your diocese will say, you cannot receive communion, which is the body of Christ, the Eucharist, the little bread wafer. And, you know, that makes you in a state of mortal sin, because if you don't receive the Eucharist once a week, you're going to hell. So it's very funny then that Campos is like, okay, I know that the diocese technically has me excommunicated, but if I give you this duffel bag full of cash, will you let me receive communion? And I just can't believe that that is the motivation for this villain who fucking murdered Michelle Rodriguez, is that he wanted to stay out of the range of mortal sin, so he did not risk the flames of damnation. I think that's extremely funny and good.
Yeah, I also like that he's a little bit of a little bastard. Because, like, when Brian's got him in the front seat, he's like, "Are you sure you know where the tunnels are? Are you 100% sure you know where the tunnels are, you little rat?" And Brian's like, "Yes," and then he knocks him with his elbow. I like that he's a little bit of a bitch. Like, that's fun for me.
Yeah, he's kind of a dick. He's kind of an asshole. It's fine. He's a completely fine. That's the thing that I was kind of confused about, because I was like, why aren't they showing us more scenes with Braga? Because it's like a pretty standard storytelling thing is to, you know, have this guy kick a dog, right? You have your villain kick a dog to show that he's bad. Like we didn't like get confirmation of who Braga was supposed to be until like well into Act 3, and then it is immediately revealed that the guy that they've actually been hanging out with, Campos, is Braga. And it's like, oh, okay, so I see why I guess it's technically Act 2, but I see why they make this choice Actually, no, I don't. I don't know why they made this choice. I think it's so wild that they didn't introduce the villain sooner.
Because they were trying to figure out if we wanted the twisty mystery cop procedural, which they are not that great at producing, and we don't want.
Correct. There's a whole thing that with like Dom, who has like this a rookie cop who's basically his secretary, which sucks. And like she's like running fingerprints and like license plates for him, and like it is very NCIS and CIS sort of deal, and that's very boring. So yeah, I think you're right. That must have been like that's why we did the twist. It was completely unnecessary. But you know, Campos is still a fine villain. He serves his purpose. I think somebody who actually becomes more of a villain is Phoenix, who is just like kind of one of the big drivers, like a big bodyguard for Campos, who like antagonizes Dom a lot, and he's the guy who ultimately allegedly shot Letty. Mm-hmm. Do you have any thoughts about him?
I have two thoughts about him. One, do you think he was like fully bisected when he died? Like, I think if Brian pulled that car out, I think he would be in two pieces.
The human spine is not as strong as we would like to think it is. Yeah, I think that dude was cleft in twain.
Lethally.
Hamburger style. Like, that was rough.
Second thought is not really a thought about Phoenix. I just wanted us to get to the end of the characters before I started talking about this. The scene in which Dom pieces together the accident is unhinged.
It's some Sherlock level bullshit. He is like recreating the crime scene in his mind.
Very specifically with details he does not have.
No, it is incredible. Like he sees the make and models of the cars and like the outfits everybody is wearing and the guns that were fired.
Based on tire tracks and a little bit of some special chemical that is in the NOS.
Yeah, it's like a NOS smear or whatever.
Methane something, yeah. He touches it and he suddenly knows what it is. Only one guy in all of LA sells it. And
yeah, it's wild.
It is capital B bonkers. Surreal to watch.
Yeah. Like you said, like I think that's completely falls in line with your theory that they wanted this to be like a cop procedural, which is why he had to go to a crime scene, except it was of course just a car accident scene. But like, yeah, they make some choices in this that I think are unhinged.
Yeah, I think that can transition us into our talking points, which is like we both agree this one didn't work for us as well. The story you wrote is a little bit convoluted. I agree. And it's not convoluted in a fun way.
No, right. Like in Fast 7, right, they're just doing a bunch of really dumb bullshit, which is fine. We're like, sure, fucking whatever.
God, I can't wait until we get to Fast 9. Holy shit.
Yeah, no, I cannot wait for those later films that are just where they finally hit their stride. But like for right now, it's very much just like, yeah, so you all like the cars when you like stealth, right? You like car stealth. And they do a whole stealth mission out in the middle of the desert that doesn't make any sense. It is very stupid.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It's very stupid, and the only reason they do it is so that the final car chase scene could happen in these tunnels. But the thing is, like, it's cool, and it's choreographed well, and I think it's fun, but the fun part of Fast and Furious is the, like, big bombastic explosions, flying cars, huge set pieces, like everything being big. This like weird capsule narrative just doesn't hit the same, you know?
No, all this stuff about like qualifying to, be one of the drivers and then doing the actual drive and then like, trying to figure out like what the cops are doing and trying to stay ahead of the police but also work with them. Like it's all strung out in a way that I don't think works and kind of gets lost in the sauce. I think in my own writing, I tend to stick with very simple narratives, kind of for this exact reason. Like I'm a guy who likes plot and kind of relies on plot to drive my stories. I'd love to be a character guy, but I just don't have those chops yet. But like this is an example of leaning on plot in a way that I don't think is helpful to anyone.
Yeah. It's just like, because I mean, this is a character piece, right? It's characters and explosions. We don't need plot.
Precisely. Yeah. Also, like you were talking about, like that stealth scene, I think it is just very strange that they gave the police so much incredible technology at the U.S.-Mexico border. They have
infrared cameras, heat detection. They have a whole complicated computer system that reads heat signatures like hundreds of yards away from the border. Y'all know those bitches are operating on like Windows 98 boxes, right?
Yeah, it's like the Arizona National Guard, and they don't give a shit.
Yeah, there are just dudes walking around out there. That's your security.
Yeah, like listen, I don't know. There was do you remember when there was one of the old presidents was like, we should build a wall?
Oh yeah, jeez, who was that?
I can't for the life of me remember, but like, yeah, the reason that he wanted to build a wall was because our border security is actually dog shit. And like, listen, I don't think either of us are. I think we're both like perfectly happy to have dog shit border security, but like, it's very strange that like in 2009 people were like, yeah, this is definitely what is protecting America from drug dealers. Can we talk about the wildest scene in the movie?
Yeah, Dwight, a man who talks about himself in third person, whose crime was teasing Brian a little bit when he lost the race, because American muscle always beats import, baby! He has a weird sex party where he's way too into feet, and Brian and his cop buddies bust in on a raid and plant meth on him. And then one of Brian's cop buddies, after he's been arrested, is like, after Dwight's been arrested, is like, this isn't gonna stick, right? And Brian's like, it's not supposed to. And at that moment, I was like, oh my god, they did all of that just to take his spot in the race.
Yeah, which, like, I'm glad they at least established that it was to take his spot in the race, because there was a good 2 minutes where I was like, Brian just did that to fuck with that guy.
Yeah, and even then, do you want to know what the easier way to take his spot in the race would have been? I can name a couple. You can sabotage his car, right? You can just take the engine out. You could also, I don't know, pay him off.
You could have done, listen, you know what he likes. You could find. Put
him in a feet pit. Just a pit of feet.
The FBI's feet pit that they reserve for the worst criminals, or also the nastiest, depending on their predilections.
Put that man in a feet pit and ask politely and see what happens.
He has a camcorder and everything, and he's just zooming in on the toes, and I was just like, why aren't we doing this? There's a whole 30-second sequence devoted to this guy's foot fetish.
We really didn't need it. We could have just had the sex party, but instead it was a weird foot sex party. And then those three girls were all trying to make out with each other, as straight women often do. It's the most dispassionate, we're getting paid for this. Mm-hmm. Hire some bisexuals, I beg of thee. It was just, there was literally one of the girls, this was truly just the funniest bit of physicality I've ever seen. So mechanical. One of the girls, there's a girl in the middle and two girls inside of her. They're all making out with each other, and then Dwight was taking video of the feet. And all I see is I'm trying to look at the scene at large, trying to decipher what's happening on my screen. And I look at the three girls, and they're trying to kind of all make out with each other. And then one of the girls has her hand very mechanically, not even really on the middle girl's boob, but kind of on her pec.
She's giving her a quick sternal rub.
I was ladies, or betittied people with tits, we are lying if we don't all say we don't occasionally just grab them and just go, nice, and then, fuck off. Grab a titty. It's fine. It's not gonna hurt you. That's been my PSA. Hire some bisexuals.
Great. Excellent. Good. So, our last talking point Very important question. We are halfway through the Fast franchise. You know, this is a franchise that does deal a lot with the mechanics and operation of four-wheeled vehicles.
Correct.
So, Leyla, what have we learned about cars so far?
I would like to put some context to this question.
Sure.
We have in the past said that the Fast franchise reads a little bit like a shonen. It operates on shonen logic. It has shonen mechanics. And something we brought up in our very good episode of our sports anime sampler, which if this is your first episode, wow, what a great recommendation to go back and listen to that episode, our sports anime sampler. We talked about how one of the keystones of a great sports anime is dramatically breaking down the mechanics of the sport you're playing. Apparently, there's a time you can hit the NOS button too late. I learned that.
I've learned that shifting more equals better driving.
American muscle is always better than import.
I mean, if that's one lesson, if that's the only lesson you take away from the Fast franchise, I think actually you've got it 100%.
Yeah, which is funny because I drive an import. Yeah, so this franchise, despite being cars based, is also it's car vibes.
Yeah, well, I mean, like we just recorded our episode about All Systems Red, and like kind of the same technology here. It's just kind of like, do you believe in your car enough? Like, why does the NOS work? Why is there a button that lets you shoot fire out of your car? Who the fuck knows? But it's cool.
Do you apologize to your car when you go on a really sharp downhill through some fences? That helps.
Yes.
It.
I was going to say, Brian does say sorry car at one point, and I was like, God, that is a mood, ain't it?
Which, like, don't be a little bitch. Name your car. Give it a name, goddammit. Have I ever told you what my car's name is?
I feel like you have. I've been in your car, so I feel like...
Gosh, shit, you have been in my car. Yeah, his name is Garrus Varkarian because he's blue, awkwardly shaped and full of justice, and it's me, I'm the justice.
Great. Excellent.
That's my pitch. Yeah, name your car, you little bitch. Don't be a coward. Sorry, car.
I don't...
Call him Dave or something.
I don't name my car because I hurt it too badly, and I don't want to hurt it, and I feel very bad.
Oh... Maybe you should name it and apologize.
Perhaps I shall.
Yeah, so I don't think I've learned a damn thing about operating a motor vehicle.
No, me either. It's a shame. I hope that they teach us how to drive in future installations.
We'll check in again at 9. We'll see if we picked up anything.
Oh, I'm sure we'll pick up quite a few things. So Leyla, for our marketing minute, this is fundamentally a story about revenge, about getting revenge for your dead wife's murder.
Correct.
Very similar to a Kill Bill or a, what's the other one with Keanu Reeves?
John Wick?
John Wick, thank you.
You're welcome.
How would you make a revenge, what's your best revenge plot story that you've got going?
I want you to not be a coward, and I want you to pitch yours first.
You mean the one where I'm like, oh, maybe me and Letty should team up and...
No, shut up, coward.
I didn't want to do it because I don't want to bring up Kingdom Hearts every episode. Okay, so what if in Kingdom Hearts 5, Mickey Mouse gets assassinated, which, like, listen, me and Leyla would be very happy if Mickey Mouse was assassinated. But in the franchise, they wouldn't let that happen. But Mickey gets killed, and Sora, Donald, and Goofy are like, this new person, they took the king from us. I don't know how to do the Goofy voice, but he'd be like, gosh, Sora, I'm just filled with I can't do the Goofy voice. My Goofy sucks.
You go to Mickey. You go straight to Mickey.
It's only Mickey. I can only do the Mickey voice.
Gosh. It's long.
Gosh, Sora, I'm filled with rage. This is nothing.
It goes to Mickey again.
Yeah, sorry. It's just Mickey's ghost is like, fellas, you gotta revenge. There's blood on my hands. You don't let my death be in vain. And they're like, there's only one person who I can think of who would be bad enough and evil enough to think of who could have killed Mickey Mouse. We have to team up with Xehanort. And they come upon like an old retired Xehanort who is like sitting with fucking Ericus, like playing fucking shitty space chess, and they're like, yeah, I can hook you up with the people you need. And it's just like fucking who's the shittiest? Who are the shittiest people in Org 13? It's
all the ones whose names we don't remember.
Yes, who's the guy who is half of Ventus? Vanitas, thank you. I was going to say the Monsters Inc. guy throws him in the trash. Vanitas has to... Vanitas and maybe Zemnis, and who's another shitty person? Maybe Demix is the comic relief. They all have to hire them on, and they have a cool threat, and it turns out that the threat is actually Bugs Bunny. Because, of course, you know, they can't have another Disney character. They have to hire somebody. It's like
this is some corporate warfare meta.
Yeah. I mean, listen, fucking Warner Brothers would be down. They are deep in the metaverse at this point. Like, I think Who Framed Roger Rabbit had both Warner Brothers and Disney characters in it, so I think they'd, you know, it would take some doing, but I bet they could get a Bugs Bunny being a not psycho, but like telekinetic mind murderer. And I think I would love to watch Sora fight Bugs Bunny with Keyblades.
Yeah, I agree. I want, in a similar vein, I want the Aqua revenge story where it's actually her that killed Mickey Mouse for leaving her in turbo hell for 10 years.
Yes, that's actually the best. And you get to do it. You get to strangle the life out of that mouse with Aqua using reaction commands.
Yep, there you go.
Press triangle to crush his trachea.
That's my pitch.
It's very good. We love revenge stories. Leyla, when we are not imagining new and inventive ways to murder Mickey Mouse, where can we be found on the internet?
You can find me at LEYLSES on Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram. I'm trying to work on my webcomic. I just wrote an essay about Ace Attorney, why I won't play it, and queer reading modes. It's more interesting and funnier than it sounds. And then you can soon, as in the next couple of weeks, find me and Marty on our new podcast, Sit Boy, where we rewatch Inuyasha, all filler, all movies, all everything, and no Yashahime. So come join us.
You can follow me on Twitter at AaronSXO, where I tweet about tabletop RPGs, health policy, and writing. You can follow me on YouTube at Avoit, where I review tabletop RPGs and talk about them. Also, I do another podcast that's at The Bible Boys, where me and my friends Michael and Josh, who are siblings and they are ex-evangelicals, I'm an ex-Catholic, we talk about Christian media. We either praise or condemn it, or in the case of this week, we play the 5th edition Adventurer's Guide to the Bible, and we'll have our OCs hang out with Jesus, which will be a fun time. Check that out. I also just got a story in print in the Broken Plate magazine. It's called Onward Christian Soldiers. It's about an angel killing the Confederate general Thomas Jackson. And I will put that story up on my website at the end of the month. So you should check it out there. Our theme song is Obsolete by Keshko from the album Filmmakers Reference Kit Volume 2. You can find more of their music at keshko.bandcamp.com. Leyla, how do we want to close this one out?
Oh, I don't care. How's my ass look, Chia Pet?
We'll see you all next week.
Wow, I can't believe I got you.
I forgot about that one.